Hi everybody, Martyn the Flicking Feathers again today, tying saltwater fly. This is the rubber candy, a great pattern from Popovics, although probably less popular than the surf candy. So as always, I'll put a materials list in the description along with a link to the Patreon page for everyone who wants to support the channel, get access to the members only content as well as being entered into the monthly giveaways for some of the flies that have been tied in the videos. So I've got my hook and my vise, and I'm just running on a bed of clear monofilament thread to the start of the bend. Right, this hook's a Gamakatsu S10 S4H, but you can use whatever hook you like really. This original, this is an Ottoman. You can see there's rust at the front there and that. This is a fly I tied several years ago, and it's the last of my rubber candies. I'm restocking my sea bass box. That's on what looks like a TMCO 811S, but I don't use those hooks anymore because they're quite weak and brittle. So I now use these, but use whatever you prefer. Tail, we're going to start with some bucktail, and I want it like 2 hook lengths off the back. Get that tied in, and I'm just going to cut the butts halfway, right? I find that this helps me to get helps you get a wee bit of a taper into the head, which is what we're looking for. Next, I'm going to get some polar flash. Any Flasabou will do. I don't really think it makes any difference, to be honest. This was the first one that I put my hand on when I reached into my bin of flash. Take any kinks out of that, and I'm just going to slightly knock the ends out of alignment, which helps stop them sticking together. It prevents them sticking together in the water. I'm going to tie the flash just the same length, maybe slightly longer. I'll let the longest couple of hairs of flash be slightly longer than the bulk of the tail. I'll wet that and set it aside for the next one. And now I'm going to get some ostrich herl. This stuff here, I've got 4 or 5 strands. I've just wet it to control it. Now you can see there's a bit of a kink in it from the packet. You can just use your nail just to sort of take the worst of that out, but don't worry too much about it, because as soon as you fish it, I mean, you can wet and dry it before you fish it if you want, but as soon as you start fishing it, it'll fall into place. Tie that off and wrap forward to the sort of 2/3 mark, which gives me creates a wee ramp down the front, which we like. It helps putting the shape in. It means the trimming can be a bit easier later. And then we're ready for the body material, which is Estaz cactus chenille. You can use crystal flash chenille, it's up to you. You just need like a shaggy, pearly chenille. Come to the front, we'll just stick a half hitch on here. I'm going to palmer this forward. I'm not using the rotary function. I like to sweep the fibres back as I go, because I want the density. Right, I want to build the density in the chenille to give the silicone something to grip to, and also give me a better shape when I trim it. which all helps with getting the final fly. Right. So what you end up with is a dense ball of chenille, right? A bit like the head of a murdage minnow, I suppose. Right. Now this, you could stop tying here, and this is a fly that will catch fish, you know. Not move water and all that, but we're going to finish it off properly to make a rubber candy. So I'm going to come in now with my scissors and trim this into a sort of flat-sided shape with a sort of taper to the nose. Right, I like the sides to be flat and the top to just be sort of tapered, and I'll round it off, take the corners off the top. You can come in quite close here at the front. At the bottom. And I try not to have too much underneath or in the gape. First of all, because I want to have as much gape free as possible, and also because the silicon's buoyant, I want most of it above the hook shank so that the fly will keel. Right, if you've too much below, the fly will lie on its side or even float upside down, which we don't want. You want it sitting the right way up. So I'll just go back to my original and show you, like you can see, there's if the shank is running along that line, the vast majority of the silicon, 80%, 70%, is above that line, and that's what makes it fish the right way up. And it's this stage, right? It's important at this stage that you trim it so that you can get that. If there's too much chenille underneath, you're not going to get that effect, right? You'll end up with a large amount of silicon underneath. So this is like the opposite of a surf candy. A surf candy, you want some epoxy or some resin below the shank to help it keel. With a rubber candy, you want the bulk of the material above the shank to help it keel, because the silicon floats, right? So some more ostrich. Going to grab, I don't know, half a dozen knows, something like that. I mean, obviously it depends on the size of the fly you're tying. And I'm just going to measure that. I don't want the ostrich any longer than the bucktail, right? Now, normally a wing, if you tied a wing this length, because it's back to here, it's the same as the tail, it would all fill, but because the silicone is going to take it so that the tie-ins at the back, that ceases to be a problem. So I'm just going to make sure the head's nice and tidy, the nose is clear, everything's tied off, there's nothing sticking forward. And then I'll just come in, quick finish. One's plenty because you're going to encase it in silicone. Just a couple of wee fibres there that bother me slightly. Now you can be as fussy as you want with the trimming. I'm quite fussy because it makes things easier at this stage. So I'm just going to go straight into the silicone, and usually I've tied quite a few already, but I've got a couple here dry, and I've got another few in my box already dry. But I would suggest tying up the whole batch to here, tidying up, and then getting the silicone on. So I've just got a wee tube of household silicone. Right, this is just a wee sort of patching tube. A full size one, I never get to the end, right, before it goes off. If you tie an awful lot of flies, maybe you will, but I find this suitable. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to put blobs of silicone sort of in the front third all the way around, and you can put a fair amount. You can always remove it. I find it easier to put plenty on and then slice it off as need with a wee spatula before it sets, rather than adding to it once I've wet it. So I've got this wee sharp edge plastic spatula. It's from an epoxy packet, but you can get a plastic knife or whatever if you want, file away the serrations or something. I've got a post-it pad sitting here just so that I can wipe away if there's any excess or anything that I remove. Dry paper towel and a wetting agent. This is clear dish detergent mixed with water. It's just 50-50. Now you've got all the time in the world here, right? Your working time is not like it would be with epoxy or something. The silicone holds its shape, it doesn't sag, and you've got plenty of time. So I've got the silicone blobbed on and I've wet my fingers, and I'm going to just sort of squeeze and press this in. Get it right down to the front first. Make sure the thread wraps and everything are fully encased, and then I'm just pressing this in. Really get it pushed into that chenille, right? You're trying to get it right into the core. Right, you want the silicone to bond with the core of the chenille. And I'm only going to come back to about the bend. Now, see I've got this big flap, right? because I've squeezed it and it's went back. It's a bit awkward to get in, so I'm going to get my wee spatula, wet it as well, and I'm going to drag it back. Then I'll wipe the spatula on the post-it to take any excess silicone away that has grabbed it. And then I'm just going to come in again with my fingers. Form the shape. Try to keep a hold of it, keep working it until you're happy. Quite often when you squeeze one bit, you'll end up with a bit that you don't like somewhere else. It's just a case of manoeuvring the material until it looks how you like it. I'm just looking at it from above and squeezing, just trying to settle on the shape that I want, and I'm making sure I just take a small amount off here, and that'll help me. That's better. And I'm just, now that I'm happy with the shape, I'm just going to kind of tap it very lightly to sort of smooth that form a fair bit. And you'll start to see, like, or you'll maybe feel that as your finger dries, there'll be a slight tack, comes back to the silicone. Stop touching it, right? That's just the wetting agent is drying off. And then you're ready to add your eyes. Right? I mean, as I say, you can set them aside. Between the coats and all that if you want. If you do, like if you did a dozen, say, I would draw the tine up and then stop, and then I would do the first coat of silicone and stick the eyes on, and then I would follow that up with the final coat. Right, this can be a wee bit tricky. Stick my side on first. Now the silicone's now sticky, right? Because it's dry. And you can sort of push the eye on, and the silicone will grip it. And I don't know if it really shows up, but there's actually a wee the eye's sort of pressed in, and there's a wee bump there. Right, and now there's a small amount of silicone has covered the eye at the edge. Do the same on this side. Make sure it's at the right place. Push them in a wee bit. Get it where you want it. Now, so my shape's a wee bit distorted. I'm going to come back in and just very lightly touch it with a wetting agent. Right. You can use other things. You can use, in Bob Popovics' book, he recommends Kodak photo flow, which I believe is something to do with darkroom work. Although I don't think there's many places selling that kind of carry on anymore. But if you can get it, you can get it. It's actually better than detergent, but a bit more expensive. Right, so I'm just going to take this one out of the vise. and grab another one. Right, I just did this a couple of minutes before. Right, you can see there the tails went all crazy because I've wet it and dried it a couple of times, but that's fine, that doesn't matter too much. And I've let this sit just long enough to allow the silicone to sort of grip the eye a bit. So I'm going to come in now with a bit more silicone. You don't need as much this time. Just got to run that small amount around there. Right, that's probably less than half the amount that you used at first, because this is just a thin coat. This isn't, you know, this isn't the bulk of the head. The bulk of the head's the first coat, nice and heavy, pushed into the chenille. This is just locking your eyes in place, smoothing things out. I mean, if you wait, you can wait overnight if you want. It's entirely up to yourself if you're not in a hurry. I just want to get back to tying other flies, really. And when you've shaped that, just smooth it all over. Just make sure you've not moved your eyes. Obviously, if you leave it overnight, the eyes will definitely not move because they'll be stuck in the cured silicone. I'm just smoothing it, smoothing it, smoothing it. If you start to stick, just wet your fingers again. Again, don't try not to build up above the below the shank. And there you go. Right, you set that aside, let it dry, let it cure. You're left with a very, very effective fly. It's probably, I mean, it doesn't look like much here because the ostrich is all wet and all that, but this, at the end you should have something sort of that. Right, it's a very, very effective pattern. Not quite as tough as a surf candy, admittedly, but still very durable. And very, very effective in the salt water. It's a different presentation to a surf candy. I like to fish these around structure. Here in Japan for the sea bass, they seem to respond very well to this. I'll fish it on an intermediate line or something. You can wake it, you can let it sink a wee bit and then strip and hang, which is often very good at eliciting a take. Really, really good pattern. Unfortunately, maybe less popular than the surf candy, probably because it's a bit more time consuming to make, but it really is a good fly and it's well worth tying some if you fish the salt. So I hope that was useful, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up below and subscribe to the channel. Tight lines, guys, bye.